All right, welcome back. We weren't gone for long, I guess. We are into the first game of the day for the European qualifiers. Top 2 advance today, and there is a loser's bracket. In the top left on Invader, as the red Terran, it is uThermal. In the top right, as the blue Zerg, it is Bly. So, ZVT, and of course we saw uThermal yesterday. I keep saying last night, but it definitely was not last night. Even the North American qualifiers weren't last night because they ended so damn early. But yesterday uThermal did advance. Had maybe like a little bit of a hiccup. I think he went like 2-1, but still it didn't. Also, it didn't matter. He advanced, going to face Bly, of course, who was invited after his performance at Austin or Tor. I can't remember which one affected this. But the point is, he was invited and he got seated in here, along with 7 others, which you can go and press type brackets, exclamation brackets to find out which ones. I guess. I suppose if you really want to find out which one's qualified, you have to go to Wikipedia, but you'll figure it out. I'm sure you will. You guys are smart. But as I said, losers bracket today too, so a lot of best of 3s to get through, and hopefully there won't be a lack of coverage. As I said, so many streams covering, including a lot of foreign language streams. So if English is not your preferred, or we're not preferred, or you just want to see another match except a TvZ, I don't know why, then you can visit Team Liquid, of course, and just find out who's doing what. But it's a very regular opener so far for uThermal, and Bly as well. So it's kind of funny that Bly just admitted basically to having to think for a little bit while he was in the lobby. And I don't know what he was thinking of, his cool strats, or maybe he was thinking of what he can do specifically against uThermal or against Terran. uThermal does play sometimes an aggressive style, but yesterday we didn't see him being too aggressive versus Zerg. Really just kind of calm, but already like a little bit of a difference because we do have 6 lings instead of just the 4, and they are taking a wide path here to try and dodge the Reaper, and it looks like it was effective. uThermal almost looked like he was gonna scout those lings off to the right and then just goes in for the drones, or maybe he did see him and still wanted the drones anyway. Is not gonna be able to get one. Then at last second, Spore Crawler was pretty good. If Bly is able to deny this Reaper, and in fact, if he's able to kill it, that would be fantastic, but without lings, it could be very difficult, because he is going for a super quick lair. I mean, that was like a 245 lair or something like that. That's pretty extreme, and it's going to be about halfway down by the time speed finishes. These lings getting around the Reaper is a huge headache for uThermal. If it was any shorter of a map, they'd already be on top of the SEV, and it would have brought back the Reaper, and maybe he actually would not have scouted the fast lair. But he did get in here, ended up dying, but the scout was still good. Of course, you would have loved to have gotten a secondary scout to confirm it was Mutas, as opposed to like a Roachborn somewhere you didn't see, or only put down just now or something like that. Looks like these lings are giving them more than just a little bit of trouble. They do clear up all the initial Marines, but reinforcements are here. It's like uThermal, we saw him do this build yesterday and then just get killed by an Overlord drop build, which is kind of cool, but that second barrack, so a little bit earlier on the Marine production, but obviously not like super good production, only on 2 barracks. It is that early Spire, not very surprising, considering the lack of a Roach Warren, and it's Bly, not that Bly, it's Bly now. Bly, 5 months ago, it obviously would have been Nidus Worm. But Bly now, does actually, Spire quite a bit. So, we'll see if uThermal knows that. I really think that he would. He has some time, too, if he realizes what's up to wait for his missile turrets. Even if he... and only if he really thinks he needs them. Obviously, missile turrets, first line of defense, but if you have enough Marines spread out, or if you're the one that's being aggressive, keeping the Mutas back at home, then you can definitely hold off for some time on those missile turrets, but obviously having an engineering bay at all would be super nice. Oh well. Wall is done, so no worries about that extreme counterattack, because he might be just planning on going straight into the main base, which Bly might have picked up on a little bit. It's Invader horizontal spawn. Regardless of what you know as their build, you must realize that at some point they're going to try and drop you in that main base. Or send a Liberator over there at the very least, right? And so many builds lead to at least 1 Liberator, but it is a double drop. Bly does already have a lot of units in position, however. This shouldn't actually do very much. Without the Spore Crawler, I think you might try and go over the Queen's heads, literally. But with the Spore Crawler and good target firing from the Queens, not worth it. And really, the power of this is not necessarily the initial surprise, although it certainly would have been very great to have, but it's just, you know, the fact that you would have medevacs already being able to roam around the map. Now, that's cut a little bit, like the effectiveness of it, because Bly went for such an early Spire. But as you can see, the mutas can't actually take on the Marines once they're unloaded. They do need the help of a couple of Lings. They still need that Focus Fire. Definitely taking out that medevac was nice, but they do lose a muta for it. And it looks like the third base is still going to go down. It's kind of where, like, uThermal, of course, is, you know, skills are really highlighted in this micro and control of his units, and you're just utilizing them to the greatest extent. Now, they don't have combat shields, which makes it a little bit scarier, but Bly just really cannot get enough Lings. He has a larva problem right now, I believe. 7 larva, okay, so he's... I guess there was a supply block problem as well, but banking was 1,000 minerals, of course, because he doesn't have a macro hatchery or a third base, and his queens were initially pulled to deal with this drop. It's doing a lot of damage. Like, Bly, had he been able to catch the medevacs unloading with mutas, doesn't do as much damage. Had he just had, like, twice the amount of Lings, probably doesn't even kill the third base, and that would have been really, really great for Bly. But unfortunately, not only is the third base still down, he's lost quite a few mutas with Focus Fire. 6 mutas, in fact, have gone down in the attempted defense from Bly, so that is actually pretty darn bad. Only at 5 left over, that's not going to be a lot for a counterattack. That's not really going to scare uThermal into staying back at home. 1 missile turret covering the mineral line, maybe 1 of the production, and you're pretty good to go. So uThermal's follow-up push, I think, is just going to straight up kill Bly here. But we'll see. Maybe the tanks aren't utilized correctly, or maybe Bly just has, I don't know, magic defense. But once again, Lings, I mean, this is such a small amount of Lings, not really doing too much. Maybe keeping some of the units back at home. Unfortunately, he was going for a Roach transition, and that is just not going to be ready in time. And if you just go ahead and try and send out like 5 or 6 Roaches, well, they're gonna die. You know, they really are better in great numbers. So the third base being denied again might as well be, in my opinion, like game over. That's just too long not to have a third. Ling's still trying to do what they can on the counter, on the reinforcement line, and it does cause uThermal to stop reinforcing through the middle of the map, realizing how annoying this is going to be, but not enough to bring back his army, which is far more important. A couple more mutas were added in, like 8 is actually a pretty good amount, but, you know, considering that he was at, I don't even know how much, like it would have been at 14 or something, that's pretty low. The tanks were not sieged, and the queens would come out to help, but even that first attack from the 2 tanks is a ton of damage to the grouped up units, and the leftover Marines, the single tank still alive, looks like it's going to be enough. And of course, reinforcements will eventually make their way over. Bly went for more of like a secret third here, I guess, but unfortunately unable to really utilize it. I mean, how is he gonna get drones over there being sieged up in this choke? And he, yeah, you can actually pick up that tank. Oh, I thought those are medevacs. Those are just liberators. Either way, with this reinforcement, Bly, I don't think he's going to be able to hold. He's lost his queens. Well, actually, he's replaced a lot of his queens. Damn, how many queens has he had in total? Oh, okay, he only lost 3. Never mind. I thought it was a lot worse. But still, any single time he's able to take down those queens, it's going to be hard to deal with the liberators. Plus, the liberators, with 2 of them, looks like they can actually siege up the choke completely and entirely, so that's kind of dirty. And that's going to be hard to take care of. A couple Ravagers are being morphed in. That's going to help a little bit to ensure that even if the Ravagers die, at least they'll get the Corsair Biles off. And Bly is holding on his 2 bases. His third is finished up. Maybe that can at least be production. Oh, the Liberators go down. Oh, it's a lot more shots than it really... Oh, well, the second one didn't go down either. Okay, well, that is going to be game, most likely. Again, the reinforcement line pretty darn strong. Looks like uThermal has not bothered getting a 30C. Nope, just more production. But that's really all he needs. That's actually not a problem. Upgrade's finally finished for Bly, and he's trying to get Tunneling Claws, which would be really cool to see if he could bring it back with Tunneling Claws. But first he'd have to actually get past the army sieging up his natural, and that's not going to happen, especially with Liberators that can't be taken care of. Trying to get on top of the dead zone of the tanks on a bad idea, which doesn't say they're shooting each other for a second there. In fact, does kill 1. But ultimately, he is at, 21 army supply versus 74, so that's gonna be game. Unfortunately, Bly, whatever he was thinking did not work out. I think uThermal just had really good, well, most of all, like, micro and control of his units.
stupid casters calling games too early. There we go. GG.
Live.
I'm back. Hi, sorry. To explain my absence there, guys, I just had a really rough start to today, but I think I'm good to go now. And I went and grabbed an energy drink too. Do you need? Can you request the code again for that thing now that I got my phone on?
Sure.
I'll get you entered in real quick.
There's an error. You're an error.
I am not an error. That is rather rude. And I don't appreciate being called an error.
The second map was frozen, right?
Hmm?
Second map was frozen, I'm pretty sure.
I just want to point out that it was supposed to be the power of retweets that saved me, guys, from disappearing, but y'all suck, and we got like 2 retweets. Y'all are butts.
Oh.
I've been noticing, like, I remember back when we started casting, we actually, with less followers, would get like more retweets on a lot of the stuff we do. It just, all those view bots.
People are already in here.
Okay,
they don't have to get in here.
2007308.
Let's go again.
2007.
Yeah.
308.
Okie dokie.
So I realized what it's been doing lately, while we get this wrong half the time, it's literally a 50-50. It sends 2 codes. One's supposed to be for Twitch login, and I guess the other's for the Twitch alerts login. So it's kind of like, okay.
Huh. Why? Whatever.
I have not a clue in the world, man. But anyways, so I've been going with the top one, and it seems to be the right one.
Okay.
But okay, let's get a game number 2. I'm ready to cast. It's going to be Frozen Temple. Thank you guys for tuning in. And thank you, Zombie Up, for covering that first game. We'll see you guys here in just a moment. Alright, so what I really liked about that first game, by the way, was it pretty much embodied everything about why Zerg players hate playing against uThermal. And it wasn't just that it was Invader, but just that level of aggression is unmatched by most. We cast a lot of Terrans in the North American qualifier, all of which lacked, to quote Zombie Up, like a killer instinct, something that uThermal has perhaps a little too much of.
Yeah.
In the bottom right, the man of the hour. We'll see if he can bring it home with a 2-0. Ladies and gentlemen, uThermal.
In the top left, as the red Zerg, it is Bly.
This kind of sucks for me, because I love Bly. Oh, I love this stupid proxy move.
Wow.
Bly has actually been doing this for a while now. And what I find really interesting about it is this is not always, like, in the past it was spine crawlers and only spine crawlers and nothing else. This evolved into roaches and the Ravagers being closer, being worth it. But I was going to quickly comment that I really want to root for Bly. I love Bly. I love casting Bly. I love seeing Bly in all our damn tournaments. But I don't want to root for Daishi, and uThermal's the only other Terran.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's only 2 Terran, and you gotta hope that they have the better start, because you can technically still cheer for both. If Bly gets it down to the loser's bracket, he could win the loser's bracket and still advance, so...
That's very true.
Of course, there's, like, you know, Snoot and TLO and all of them that you also probably want to cheer for, so I don't know, that's your conundrum, man.
Yeah, there's actually quite a few good players playing today. If you guys haven't seen the full lineup, make sure to go to Team Liquid, find those brackets. I don't know if they've been updated with a bot yet or not, but a lot of good players. The only person I was surprised not to see invited and not playing at all was Bunny, actually. No show up whatsoever.
Yeah, he hasn't been playing a lot of tournaments. It's,
he's been focusing on school, and he's commented on that too. But anyways, the hatchery was scouted. uThermal knows full well what's going on. He's going to start a bunker here at the high ground. Problem is, the positioning on it's a bit wonky. And the reason for this is because, once again, Bly's not doing spine crawlers with this. It's going to be just for faster, closer roaches that can become Ravagers really quick. He'll have an Overlord sitting probably about here. He'll just continue spamming Corrosive Biles, picking up depots, and it just gets really annoying really quick because you can't really push into it as a Terran.
Yeah, but uThermal is doing everything correct here. Of course, he got that SCV scout very early because he knows that he's facing an opponent that can do a lot of, like, early shenanigans, including an early pool that will cancel a command center or a proxy hatchery. Now, it's the first time I've seen the proxy hatchery on this map.
He needs predictive tumor. There you go.
Yeah, I don't know if he's like, faced this before, on the ladder and he knows exactly what was up, but he certainly scouted it quick enough. So the second bunker is going to be necessary. As you said, the Ravagers will probably take out this one eventually, basically, and you want them to not be able to just run in to your base. You still want to have some stopping points while your tank and your medevac are still getting prepared. And once tank and medevac are out, this really does lose its steam, and it's basically up to the Terran to just mess up to lose after that.
So there's two aspects to this too. We look at this and there's the fact that Bly doesn't have a natural base when this goes on, and uThermal knows that with the SCV. This is key. Because uThermal being on one base as well, one base versus one base, it's okay to trade poorly, or trade decently, I should say. Whereas in other situations, you're like, oh, I'm falling behind because he's got a hatchery, he's mining more, he's got better income. But that's not the case. uThermal's SCV keeps a good scout on this.
Yeah. The one thing that can help is a Viking or a Liberator, which Liberator is what we see. That's going to be able to take out the Overlords as well as then eventually siege up on the high ground so the Ravagers cannot break it, and that's just going to be a very solid defense. And as you're talking about, like, the lack of a hatchery here, technically untrue, as he has before mined off of his proxy hatchery, but that would be like a terrible idea here.
That's in situations too where you actually aren't, like, your mineral line wouldn't be threatened by just the default defense.
Yeah. Yeah, that's certainly what's something different about doing it on this map. Like Dusk Towers, he puts it off to like the left, kind of, the fourth base, I would guess, or sometimes the third base too.
Oh,
but
he is droning right now.
He did, yeah. He had 7 drones before, now he has 7 more. Like, he's trying to macro out of this, but macro games beyond this have not gone well in the past. I don't think we've seen a game win. We've seen games close to winning because they turn into weird, like, base trade type of deals, but still ultimately in favor of the Terran.
So with the way tank drops work, I just feel like this one base versus one base scenario is a lot better for uThermal. Liberator coming to the main. There's a Spore Crawler on the backside, of course, but this is a really, like, normally you just transfer the drones to the natural and you're mining no problem, but Bly can't do that. He actually cannot afford to lose mining.
Well, everything points to uThermal victory, but he still has a couple of complications that he has to deal with, such as his own lack of a natural, and there is going to be a lot of creep to clear up, although it does recede faster. I think that this damage is certainly very good, though. In fact, oh wow, I dodged all of them.
Well, they were placed a little bit wonky too, if you saw their targeting, but yeah, this is really hurting Bly, like, real bad. Those ones missed too.
Yeah. Bly is not usually too terrible with his Corrosive Biles, but uThermal just moving there. Exact Right Moment is doing way too much damage, and the tanks accompanying this are eventually going to be able to take down all of the units on the field for Bly and eventually get into that drone line.
Yeah,
or just kill the hatchery.
I mean, like, what can you really do with Bly? Like, you can say, oh, he could have gone for a Spire, but then you're like, okay, it's one base Spire. Like, again, not a good situation to be in either way. He might try to break this with sending out the Lings first. I know the Queens are a little bit slow. Hopefully they don't get on the ramp because it's blocked. But unless those medevacs go down, there is no really dealing with this, unfortunately. The tanks can keep dropping for quite a long time. And a lot of these Ravagers are very low already.
He finally cleared up some of the creep. Actually, the creep that is not covering his natural. So that's a little unfortunate for uThermal. But I think he's still going to win with this push regardless.
Yeah.
It's a lot of units coming up here. I guess Bly was going to try and catch them on the ramp. Rain down some Corrosive Biles, but did not work out.
It's like Farah Overwatch.
Oh, well.
Justice
rain
from above.
Yeah. A little unfortunate there for uThermal losing that one tank. Pretty good for Bly, but that is still probably too large of an army. Fear units here for Bly. Corrosive Biles almost taking care of the medevacs. All the Queens are down now.
Even then, I mean, it's not going to be enough. Tanks get some friendly fire, some shots going off. Last Ravager about to die to the Marines, and that sadly will probably be about what kills it here for Bly.
Yeah, very quick series. It honestly did feel like Bly just woke up or something. Now, I know he was sick, so that is actually possible, and the reason he had to, like, think for a while in that lobby. But it's also possible just that he got super unlucky with his builds. I think this game, it feels kind of I really don't know about this build anymore, to be honest, especially if you're facing someone who, I don't know, like, scouts at all or knows you at all.
Well, yes, that and the fact that we have seen this proxy scenario work more times than not. So
I mean, that was so long ago, though.
I would say even in recent days, like with Scarlet and Bly both still going for it once every like 10 or 15 games, like it's something where it's more surprising to me to see this shut down so hard than to see it not work.
I don't know. Whenever it's scouted immediately, and that's an SCV scout, which only happens sometimes. It's like, you know, one of the main points of the build. I feel like it is shut down, and that is game.
Alright, congratulations to uThermal. He'll take the 2-0 to kick off today's cast and advance on here in the winners bracket. But as Zombie Grub had stated, don't forget Bly still has a chance in the losers bracket. So it's double elimination. And I believe it's the just top one of each, right? 2 people get through?
Yeah.
Alright, and I finally have a link to the qualifier open. Boom.
Good deal. Thank you, Didalgilish, for the 4-month resub.
And Fles Rudelik for the 25-month resub. Dang. Nurchi also advances over a Walmu already, so quick start over there. I can't remember how they do. At some point they start ordering the matches, right? I think it's the semifinals, and then that's when when ESL kicks us out and we gotta go to the losers bracket or something.
That sounds familiar. Yes.
But okay, guys, we're going to figure out what we're getting into next. Just stick with us. We're going to go to our first ad break of the day, so thank you guys for watching. And none of the other matches are ready to go yet, so it'll be a few minutes either way. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you soon.